Hey guys, it's Jordan with everythingcatholic.com. Thanks for tuning in. Today, we're having a conversation with Elissa Tiprigan, mom of four, owner of a small Catholic business. Super excited to talk with her about how do we keep our kids and our families plugged in during the summer months? Why is it tough? What tips can we offer or share? Things that are tried and true and work to help kids and families survive the summer and come out on the other end as strong or stronger in their faith than they were when they entered into the start of the summer. So when we are recording this, this is the beginning of June. We've got a few weeks, few months ahead of us of summer. And so just thought it would be a fun topic to talk about. And I think Elissa is very qualified to chat about it. So Elissa, thanks for being here today.
Thanks for having me, Jordan.
Absolutely. Hey, before we dive in, I don't want to forget, if you're watching this and you're interested in more content like this, go ahead and tap or click that subscribe button down below so that you can be in the know of every new video that we come out with. We do several of them each week, short stuff, long stuff, and everything in between. So go ahead and click or tap that subscribe button, and we promise we'll send you good Catholic content. Cool. Elissa, summertime. I don't know if you're like me. My kids have been out for a few weeks already, and it can get pretty crazy sometimes having the
Yes.
kids at home. And yeah, how are you doing?
Well, we homeschool. We're one of those crazy people, so it doesn't feel super different yet for us. But yeah, so
Yeah,
it's getting hot and it does feel different.
yeah. Remind me where you're located again.
I'm in Denver,
Denver. Okay.
Southwest Denver. Yeah.
I was in Denver a week ago, and it was warmer there than it was in North Georgia, which is where I live, and that's unusual. But the temperature swings there can be crazy.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, summertime can be kind of tough in general. I don't know what the situation is like in your household, but for me and my wife, we both work, and so school is something that occupies kids for a large portion of the day, and now they're suddenly out of that, and you can be kind of scrambling trying to find things to do. And then on top of that, if they're enrolled in CCD or maybe attend a Catholic school or a Catholic homeschooling program during the school year, that stuff most of the time isn't happening during the summer. So you have that
Right.
added question or added pressure of what do we do to keep our kids plugged into the faith?
Yep. I think it can be challenging, and I would just encourage everyone to just take bite-sized things and not. I know a lot of times I'll be like, "We're gonna do this over the summer," and it's these crazy grand plans, and then when they don't happen, the, like, type A control freak mom is like, "Well, now I'm a total failure, so I'm just gonna throw it all out." So what's worked the best for me is to just find, like, little small things to do
Yeah,
and to work them into things that have to happen, like work them into a routine that already exists.
yeah.
So, one thing we love is listening to Catholic podcasts
Hmm.
or Catholic audiobooks. There's plenty of books on the saints, podcasts on the saints. Our favorite is Saints Alive
Yeah,
podcast,
they're great.
that are really high quality. And so I just make sure to have those downloaded, ready on my phone so that if we're doing a road trip, we can add in some Lives of the Saints stuff, learning about Catholicism, and also like even a drive to the pool. Like
Mhm.
this morning, we were on our way to swim team, and it's like, okay, let's listen to a 10-minute Catholic podcast because at the time where we're all captive, we have that time anyways. Um, the other thing I like to do too, driving, is to like start our drive with the prayer.
Yeah,
And my kids are just like normal kids. They do not love saying a whole rosary. So
yeah,
sometimes it's like, okay, let's just like ask God to keep us safe on our drive, keep us safe at the pool, whatever the intentions are for the day, keep us safe on our road trip to visit grandparents or go camping or whatever it is. And then if we're feeling ambitious, we'll do like a decade of the rosary or something.
yeah,
So I think just building in those small little like touch points into things you're already doing helps a lot. The other thing I like to use is I like to use meal times. So
yeah.
I'm
That's
like, okay, they're captive.
right. Hmm.
They've got toddler and a baby, two other kids, and if they don't have something to do at mealtime, I feel like it's just chaos.
That's hard.
Maybe your children are more well behaved at
Yeah.
dinner time, but mine are not. So, and especially like I feel like lunch and breakfast can be the hardest. Like dinner, it's like dad's home and there's this excitement of like sharing the day and like everyone being together. But breakfast and lunch, I feel like can easily go downhill quickly. So, I've had a lot of success using that time to like, so we'll pull out like a picture book.
Mhm.
Um, I love like different books on the saints, but we might do like a very simple Bible story and we'll just do like I'll do one Bible story
Sure.
from a kid's Bible and then after that I'll pick like one saint story. I love I see you have there our Bible basics.
Yep.
It's super
Yep.
great. The Jesus the red one. Yep.
Yep.
So it's like one card a day, and it shows you the connections to where Catholic teaching comes from the Bible.
Mhm.
So I really wanted a lot of the resources on the Bible are just general Christian viewpoint of the Bible. I really wanted something that specifically pulled out for kids, like where is the teaching on the Eucharist, or where
Right.
is the teaching on this or that, like these different Catholic things. And so those cards, there's 30 of them.
Mhm.
And so I just keep them on our table and I'll just go through one at breakfast and they're very quick,
Yeah.
very easy to do.
Right.
It kind of keeps the mealtime chaos
Yes.
at bay because you have something to do. And people are like, well, when do you eat? And sometimes I will eat while doing all the things,
Right.
but oftentimes I'll just wait and like they always have a bajillion leftovers.
Sure.
So then I'm like, okay, I'll just eat all the leftovers or
Yeah.
have a meal in peace once they're off playing or whatever. But
Sure.
so that's kind of worked for us. It's just like little simple things and not
Mhm.
nothing that's like earth shattering or
Yeah.
gonna take up your whole day.
Right.
Um, there's also we have coloring pages actually that go free coloring pages that go along with the Saints Alive podcast and a
Uh-huh.
number of other coloring pages. But my kids love to just like sit there and color. So in the heat of the day, it's really easy to turn on a podcast, hand them a coloring page that goes
Yeah.
along with that podcast, and they're happy for 45 minutes
Right.
without a screen, and it's amazing.
Yeah, those are those small little things. So, like, yeah, parents, if you're watching this, pull up paper and a pen, write down the note that you.
And the
Right.
last thing I wanted to say was just like to not beat yourself up if it doesn't happen every day, because that's the thing that's hard about summer is our schedules are so much less predictable than during the school year. And so I would just say like if it's, you're out of town or things are getting crazy, like don't beat yourself up about it. Just try to keep up with what you can and restart and mass, obviously going to mass is the
Sure.
most important thing on Sundays.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If your parish or a church near you offers mass at the right time, or you're able to make it in the mornings, I know the two churches near us offer mass a bit later in the morning than we're able to do before the start of work. But when we have an opportunity, we definitely jump on that. I think one of the big things for me that we've been focused on lately is just presence with your kids. We noticed we have four boys, ages 3 to 11, and we've got a lot of them on the younger side, right? So it's three, five,
Yeah.
6, and then 11. And screens were quickly becoming a problem as we got into summer. And so we just did something kind of crazy. Wouldn't necessarily recommend it for everybody, but we unplugged the TVs and hid the plugs. And we're like, we're just going to stop this for a weekend to start and see what happens. And it was great. It was really good. It was tough at times, like if they woke us up early, like this morning I got woken up at 5:30 by a 6-year-old who wanted to watch something on the phone, and we said no, and so then we had to find something to do until everybody else woke up. And that was okay though, because that was 2 hours that I wouldn't have had otherwise, or would have had lots of battles to fight later on. And so just finding time to be with them
Yeah.
and having spontaneous conversations. They're going to ask a ton of questions. My 6-year-old is super duper chatty, especially in the morning. And so there's a lot of things to talk about. And those are beautiful times to just spend with them and not really have too much of an agenda necessarily.
Yeah. I know we were pretty strict on the screen time. And then, something will come up and we'll bring it back in.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, they're worse afterwards. Like
Oh,
it was nice for that break, but then you pull them off of it, they watch something for an hour and then you pull them off of it and it's like, was that even worth it? Like
yeah,
they're just terrors for the next like
I know.
2 hours or something. So yeah, and I think for me too, I have to own for my own use of screens and realize like how distracting that can be for myself as a
Oh, yeah.
mom and being like, okay, did I really pay attention to my kids today or was I just like looking
Yeah,
down the whole time? So I think
yeah,
it's a good time to hold yourself accountable to the same standards that we
sure.
place on our kids and to really evaluate like do I really need to be checking this email right
Sure.
now
Or
or
can
can
be.
this wait? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, the
And
screen
oftentimes
yeah,
I find I'm more productive when I wait and
mhm,
answer my emails when I have 15 minutes to sit down and just pull out my computer and crank out a bunch of emails.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah.
No, that's great. The screen time thing has been a big eye opener for us too because I was listening to a podcast or an audiobook recently about kids' behavior and they said something that it was kind of a lightning bolt moment at the time, but something that I think I knew already. But obviously, kids pick up a lot of their behavior by example. They see what you do and how you act, and then they want to do the same things. And if I'm always on my phone, they're going to want to be on the phone too. And so if I am showing less of a connection to that device, then hopefully it'll start to kind of wane away on their side as well. So, um, yeah,
Yeah, I heard go ahead.
I
Sorry.
was just gonna say, like it's all about time, right? We're given 24 hours a day. We need to be spending a good chunk of that sleeping. And so what's left is either time that you can spend with your family. Obviously, you have, work and other responsibilities, but those bookend times in the mornings and at night, particularly, just spending those investing in your kids and figuring out fun and creative ways to kind of weave in the Catholic faith is not going to do anything but good for you.
Yeah. And I often think too, like, they don't know what we're doing on our phones,
Yeah,
right? We might be reading the Bible, we might be working, we might be doing this, we might be doing that, but all they see is like us on our phones. And so I know there's different techniques, but for me, I've tried to like really do as little on my phone as necessary so that my kids see me like reading my actual Bible and like praying on an actual rosary and these things so that they don't just think like, oh, what's mom doing? But I know other schools of thought are like, still use your phone for what you want to use your phone for, but just tell them, like audibly tell them, oh, I'm looking up a recipe
yeah,
or I am praying, this prayer, or I'm reading the daily readings for today, or whatever. So they at least know, like, you're not just on YouTube all day or
right.
whatever. They at
Right.
least see, like, hear you say different things
Hmm.
because, like you said, they're gonna copy you, and I want them to like have good habits of like prayer and
Yeah.
you know time with God's word and all those things
Yeah,
too.
absolutely. I don't know if this is the case for you, but for us, giving plenty of time to kind of wind down and prepare for bedtime is really important. And if we try to rush it, that typically leads to a lot of fighting and crying and screaming. And it's one of the things that I've started doing. A couple things I've started doing recently, and some of this is, I guess, backed by science. There's definitely thoughts out there that watching screens or too much blue light too close to bedtime is going to make it hard for you to kind of enter into a restful sleep. So not having the screens on has been really helpful in that regard. And so we do a lot of reading at night. We've done Chronicles of Narnia and other books like that I love. I read when I was a kid, and it's fun to introduce that to my kids. But also, we've been listening to music. My boys like to listen to music when they're falling asleep, and so we might find something peaceful that they can listen to. Recently, we've been listening to Shade by Brother Isaiah, now Father Isaiah, from the Franciscan Friars of the Renewal on Spotify, and just listening through that album, and they love it, and it's nice music for them to fall asleep to. So those are good ones as well.
I'm gonna have to write that down.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's great one. I'm really bad at thinking about music, but what my second in particular is always like, "Can we listen to music?" And I just kind of forget.
Yeah,
But that's a great thing to do that doesn't require any time from you as a parent
yeah.
of just like you can expose them to good, beautiful music.
Yep, absolutely. Well, let's talk a little bit about Catholic Family Crate, the small business that you founded, and kind of how that got started. And then we'll move into talking about some really fantastic products of yours that we sell on everythingcatholic.com that are great things to use throughout the summer and really throughout any time of year. But tell us a little bit about your business and kind of the inspiration behind it, how you got started.
Okay, so it's kind of been a wild ride. It's been 5 years.
Sure.
Um, and I'll tell you where we are now, and
Okay.
it's so very different than where we started from. But where we are now is we make Catholic educational resources and materials for the family. Our stuff is appealing for a wide age range, adults without kids, young adults, teenagers, the whole gamut. But we ultimately focus on the family and children. So we have a very bright, fun aesthetic,
Yeah.
and our stuff is very appealing to kids. So I did an event this weekend, and someone sent me a picture of our little table that we had. And I loved it because it was like swarms
Yeah.
of 9-year-old girls. It was
Oh,
like
that's cool.
it was like a mother-daughter event. And I
Yeah.
was like, okay, we've hit it. Like they're swarming to our table. This is what we wanted. We wanted it to be appealing to 9-year-olds.
Sure.
Um, so basically, the inspiration behind it was just that I had just moved to the Diocese of Denver
Mhm.
and I was expecting my first child. And um, the Diocese of Denver is a very strong diocese with
Yeah.
lots of like very faithful families and priests and orders and organizations. And there's a lot of stuff out of the Diocese of Denver. And I had never seen anything like it, even being raised Catholic. And it was so attractive and appealing to me of like these families who they were all in. Like it
Yeah.
wasn't just a Sunday thing. It was like they were living this like Catholic identity throughout their entire day and their entire year. And so it was very appealing to me, but very overwhelming of like, how do I learn all the stuff
Yeah.
that these people know and these traditions and prayers and this and that? And so I originally started out just as a subscription box
Mhm.
where we sort of helped make it easier for families to
Yeah.
live the church calendar. And so we would just gather things for the month of June for a family to like celebrate the month of the Sacred Heart or whatever's going on in the church calendar for that year, for that month. And quickly I realized I just couldn't find the resources that I wanted to include. And so when there were gaps in the market, I would hire an artist, hire a writer, hire a theologian, and we would come together to create whatever it was that I wanted. And
Right.
every single month we would send out surveys to our subscribers and say, what did you like? What did you not like? Blah, 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 trying to figure out what people wanted. And every time the stuff we had created was everyone's favorite.
No, that's cool.
And so eventually it became where now we just create all of our own resources. So we still do have a subscription option.
Mhm.
But the majority of our work is really just making all kinds of Catholic resources. We make games, we
Yeah.
make sticker books, we make prayer resources, we make art prints, you name it, we kind of do it. And it's a testament to like saying yes to God. Like it's one
Mhm.
of those things, like, if I would have known what this would have turned into 5 years ago, I would
You
have
said,
never said
"Okay."
yes.
Yeah.
But it's like you say that first little yes,
Yeah.
and then before long, it snowballs
Mhm.
into something way more beautiful and difficult and challenging and interesting than I would have ever imagined.
Sure.
So it's been a good ride, but
Yeah,
it's
that's
been
awesome. Yeah, I first, learned about your brand through the subscription boxes and then was super happy as we were launching everythingcatholic.com to find out you guys were making a lot of these products available à la carte, and so we've loved being able to add them to our list of products on the website, and You've got lots of fans through everything Catholic. People love to particularly buy the Mass on a Ring card set. They just gobble that up every time we get another shipment from you. So
Good.
I'm a big fan of what you do. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, let's talk.
Yeah, it just at some point it felt so silly to like just make this stuff for our subscribers and then
Sure.
it would just die
Yeah.
after that month and it was like, okay, we need to make this available to everybody and not
Yeah.
be so exclusive.
Yeah. No, that's great. I appreciate that you did that. Let's talk about a few of the products that I have here. Why don't we start with the Pray by sticker book, and you can just kind of tell us a little bit about this and the inspiration behind it.
Yep. So this probably looks sort of familiar to people because they have lots of different variations of this that are really popular for kids
Hmm.
these days. And so my kids just gobble these up. Speaking
Right.
of good entertaining for the summer months,
Yeah.
uh, the my kids will sit. So I would say it's for 5 and up because there are some really small pieces, and
Yeah.
so there's a page, and the kids are matching
Right.
a sticker with the number
Yeah.
on the print. So you can
All the
see this is the
stickers are in the back.
sticker.
Yep.
Yeah. So that has the sticker page with the Jordan. I have one that's actually torn apart. Can I pull it out real quick?
Go for it. Yeah, that'd be
Okay.
great.
Um
So this is kind of like a riff on paint by number, which is something that I remember doing as a kid. A lot less messy, and my kids love these too. We've got ones of animals and cars and astronauts and all kinds of things, and now we've got one of Catholic stuff. Yeah, there you go.
so here's St. Michael. So these were all stickers and it shows you the number and then it shows you a number here that the kids have to match it with. But each one of these keeps my 6-year-old and 8-year-old entertained for about an hour of
Nice.
free screen-free entertainment. And then on the back, it tells you a little bit about like what the image is, and then there's like a little like thought-provoking
Nice.
question on the back. So there's 10 different images on this: Saint Michael, the Eucharist, Mary, the crucifix. Yeah, just kind of the most popular Catholic images that
Art.
you'll
That's a good one
see.
for this month.
Yes, the Sacred Heart one we love.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Anyways, but they really turn out super beautifully, and so, they're a great they make a great gift
Mhm.
for when they're done for them to give to a grandparent or something, and you can say like, "Oh, I prayed for you while
Nice,
I
nice.
created my masterpiece," but they look really cool when they're done too, and the kids are really proud of them.
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
And I
Um,
like to do them myself, it's very therapeutic.
yeah. Well, that's like what was it? Adult coloring books became a thing.
Yes,
There's a reason for that.
right.
That's good. Let's talk about the Bible basics. We talked a little bit about that already in the conversation,
Okay.
but to unpack this more, I think this is a card set and it's 30 days. And you were talking about using them at meal times, which I think is fantastic. Just do one a day and it'll last you for about a month. But we've got a beautiful image on the front, and then it's got some connections and conversations on the back, and the Bible verse on the front, and then I guess a theme for the day, like this one's baptism.
Yep.
But yeah, talk me through this a little bit.
So those ones are great. So it includes a verse on the front, and we intentionally put a verse on the front because we really wanted to challenge parents to get over their fear of like opening up the Bible and
Yeah,
flipping through the Bible.
yeah,
So the idea is that you actually open your Bible and you read the verse from the front, and then
okay,
there's this image, and then the back is just really open and go. And that's the thing for me as a um, mediocrely catechized Catholic,
sure,
all of a sudden becoming a mom and feeling like I want to pass on my faith to my children, but I don't have a degree in theology. I wasn't a focused missionary, like whatever it is, like all the things all of our inadequacies. I wanted like resources that I could just pull up and read from and be
sure,
able to teach my children without knowing these things myself. So
yep,
this is why I have a writer and a theologian and all those kinds of things on staff because I am not creating those. I need all these resources for my own family.
yep,
So I find that for myself, I learn equally as much, if not more,
Yeah,
um, than my children do. And I hear from a lot of people who are on the other side of the spectrum who are like, I have a degree in theology, or I was studying to be a priest for 7 years and left. And their struggle is that they don't know how to take their huge knowledge and like break it down for a 5 year old.
sure.
So I feel like wherever you are in your faith, it's really helpful to have a resource that's like written specifically
Hmm.
for family use.
Hmm.
The other thing I think it's nice about these and all of our resources is that they are specifically designed to be used in the family. So
Right.
I don't know, like sometimes I'll pick up resources and it's clearly designed for a classroom setting. And it's very hard to like extrapolate
Sure.
like a something that a teacher is supposed to use for 25 kids
Right.
for you and your 4 kids
Hmm.
trying to just do this in a couple minutes at dinner, you know? So those ones are particularly nice too because they're very like designed for a family to use them together.
Yeah, they make you the bright colors, the pictures make you want to use them and look through them. So, can see how kids would become really excited about that. I love that it can go through basically a full month and it walks you through, like it says, Jesus' life on earth from the start to the end and the foundation of the church and all of that. So it's fantastic. I love this a lot. Very nice.
Good.
Sticking on the theme of cards, and I think you have the
Yep.
mask cards on a ring, which is one of my favorites. My 6-year-old loves these, and he's probably one of the hardest ones to keep paying attention at mass and just not distracting everybody around him. So this is a great one because this one walks you through all the different parts of the mass and helps explain it, and it has again a fun picture on the front and then description on the back.
Yep. So it breaks the mass up into 27 different parts. And they're color coordinated by the going blank by the parts of the mass. So the
Right.
yellow ones are the introductory rites, and
Right.
then you have the liturgy of the word, liturgy of the Eucharist, and then the pink is the closing rites.
Hmm.
And so they can like visually see where they are in mass and
Yeah.
how much time they have left
I know.
and
That's a
all
big
these
question.
important things. But they're very visual. So like for a child that doesn't read, they have pictures. But then on the back for a child that reads, there is a lot of information about what is happening at that time. I also know a lot of families will go over these at home
Yeah.
before mass and be able to like read them so that then when the child's at mass, they're like, oh, this is what's happening right here.
Right.
But yeah, these are very engaging and yeah, they have been our best seller for a very long time. Um, but it's nice because you can really see like what's happening during
Yeah,
mass and they
absolutely.
can have the ability to flip through
Yeah,
on their own. And again, I have learned a ton from this myself. So
yeah.
I hear from adults who sit and go through it at mass on their own.
Uh-huh.
It's also makes a great gift for like a convert
Sure.
too. I know plenty of converts who were like, I'm sitting here with my mass ring, even though I'm 45 years old, trying to figure out what is happening.
Yeah, yeah. No, I
So
think it's great. I love that it's on a ring so they don't get lost and you can keep them all together. I know a lot of your products I love to give to my kids on the drive to mass. It takes about 20 minutes for us to get from the house to the church. And usually when I'm in the car, I'm playing DJ as well as driving the car because the kids want to, I want this song, I want that song. And that's fun. But when we're trying to get to mass, I just like to try to keep it quiet, help them prepare a little bit and not be so, hopping out of the car with thumping music in their brain when they're walking through the doors of the
yeah.
church. And so having these in their hands is really helpful because they can pay attention to that. It gives them something to do.
Oh, it's a great idea. I
Yeah.
love that.
Another ring that we have on everythingcatholic.com is how to pray the rosary. So similar to the concept with mass where it breaks it down, this one breaks down all of the different mysteries of the rosary as well as some of the common prayers that are used in the rosary. So this is a really cool one to help kids. I think the rosary can be difficult for kids because you're saying the same thing over and over again.
Mhm.
As you mature in your praying of the rosary, you start to focus more on the mysteries while you're saying the prayers. But this visual representation of the mysteries with a picture of the mystery and then information on the back can really help them start to put those pieces together a lot earlier, which should help them to fall in love with the rosary more deeply and sooner. So I love this one as well. This is a really great accompaniment to your rosaries at home, and can be a part of the practice of praying the rosary when you do it as a family.
Yep. I keep that in my pocket
Oh, nice.
all the time, and it's helpful for me. Like I sometimes will still get tripped up on like, what order are the luminous mysteries
I know
in?
that one's always tough.
Um, but also it comes in handy because if I've like sat down to pray a rosary and the kids are running around and inevitably someone will come join me for like a couple minutes and
Yeah,
then I can pull it out of my pocket and like have something to give to them. So
yeah,
it's small enough to fit in a pocket, which
yep,
is nice.
yeah. I think this is great. Another card set that we have is the Little Way cards, inspired by Saint Therese of Lisieux. This one's cool. It comes in a box with a little magnet closure that you open up, and inside are a series of cards that are all about kind of offering up things. As you like, I guess with Saint Therese, that was her little way, was offering up simple things to God. And so there's on the front something like help a stranger, and then on the back it's going to give you information about offering it up for the lonely, right? So read a story to a sibling, offer it up for teachers, which is a great way to kind of help kids uh, begin prayer on behalf of others. So this one, I really like this one. We sold a lot of these during Lent because people wanted to participate in something sacrificial, and this is a fun way to do that. But yeah, tell me a little bit about this and your thoughts on this and the inspiration and maybe how you use it.
I think it's perfect for summer actually too, because you could keep them out on a coffee table or something, and the easy open magnetic box thing is easy for the kids to get into. And maybe the goal could just be we're going to draw one of these a day as a family, or each kid draws one when you think of it.
Hmm.
And then it would just be something small for them to learn that even though, right now their lives aren't like maybe super challenging or super, they're not able to do these like huge heroic things that we read about from a lot of the saints, that even the littlest thing, like they can do things,
Yeah,
great things for God, and they can,
yeah,
like read a story to a sibling, or
right.
load the dishwasher, or give
Yeah,
your mom a hug, or whatever it is that are seen by God, and you can offer those things up for bigger intentions.
yeah. I like this because it ties together action and prayer at the same time, which I think is fun. So, like, a lot of the resources that we looked at so far are focused on prayer, which is wonderful and absolutely needs to happen. But these kind of, for the kids of ours that are maybe more action oriented, these give them something to do, which is really helpful. But then it ties it with prayer, which is fun too, because it helps kids kind of understand that full circle of everything. And I really like
Mm.
the one about doing extra chores without being an ass. I need to put that one kind of on the top.
Yeah, you can like pin it, put it up
Yeah,
on the refrigerator each day. Like, everyone, remember what our
right.
thing
Yeah,
is for the day. And I think even too, like for me, it just feels like as a parent, just your days are like this never ending slog of like the dishes and the laundry and the, taking care of all the people.
yep,
So even for a parent, it's a good reminder of like, oh, these little things that we do all day
yeah,
are like God sees them, and they're these beautiful acts of service.
yeah. I think that's great.
Yeah.
Last two things I have here are art prints. And at the start, when you were kind of talking about the inspiration behind Catholic Family Crate, you were talking about products that are available even for adults, not necessarily just kids. And these, I think, are great examples of products that are accessible to a large range of people, right? Because I think these are beautiful, just as an adult, but they're also going to be fun for kids. So we have a Names of Mary print and then an Our Father print that you could frame and hang up in your house. And I think these are really fun. Let's talk about the Names of Mary print.
Yeah, so they're both 8 by 10 prints. And the Names of Mary was a super fun project because Mary has so many different names.
Yeah.
Um, and so we picked like 9 of kind of the most popular of her names to illustrate, and then at the bottom it shows you the different names. And so that's a fun thing. Like the kids love to look at that print and
Yeah,
kind of identify, like, well, why would she be, why would this name have this and
right.
this name have that? And like, why, what are
What is
the different,
Theotokos? And then you can talk about it.
yeah.
Undoer of Knots is one of my favorites. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Mm.
So, and it's just a really fun,
Mhm.
beautiful image of different names of Mary.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And then our Father print too, I think that I like, prayers that are framed and hung on the house, right? And on the walls, and, every time you see it, it can draw you back to prayer. And this is such a powerful one that Jesus spoke to us, right? So I think this is a great one as well. And it just uses a lot of the fun colors that you use throughout your different products, and very, very nice looking. And we have one of these hanging in our house.
Oh, good. Yeah, I think it's a great reminder because when you glance at it, you're like, oh, okay, maybe I
Hmm.
should pray. And I think for us, it was we just kept seeing a lot of the same looking. Like there was like a style that like a lot of Catholic artists were doing, and I'm like, well, what about for people whose house doesn't look like that? Like,
Sure.
what about for a playroom or a kid's room or somewhere where you want a little bit
Yeah.
more fun? So I love that one because it's like colorful and it goes great like in a house that has maybe more color or more
Sure.
modern. But it's also perfect for a kid's room or a nursery or a playroom, like somewhere where you want more color and fun.
Yeah. I think this is great.
But you still want to surround them with the faith.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Doesn't have to be tacky to surround them with the faith. You can have nice stuff. So, yeah. Yeah. Well,
Yes.
this is great. Alyssa, thank you so much for spending a few minutes with me. And I really appreciate all that you do. We love being able to carry your products on everythingcatholic.com, and we know our customers love it too. And looking forward to more that you have coming out in the coming months and years, and excited for you and your business. And thanks for coming on today.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, keep us in your prayers.
All right. Talk to you later. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.